Simply lovely.
Through goes Hamilton! And it's lights out and away we go!
Welcome back to another episode of the Carbon Cardboard Podcast covering the Formula One sports card hobby. Scott, it's been a while.
It has been a while. Lots going on, lots to talk about. Formula One season is sadly over. But yeah, lots of stuff. So ready to crack into it.
I don't even remember the last time we actually recorded. To be honest, I don't remember the last time you and I actually talked. That's
a few years ago, probably. Maybe 2019.
Certainly was before this the 3 races to end the season here. So that's what we're going to lead the show off is talk about the end of the season.
That's right.
What that means for the immediate future and maybe long-term future of some of these drivers. We're going to talk, gosh, what else are we going to talk about? So we have some Dynasty hits to look at.
Yeah, Dynasty released. I mean, gosh, I guess it has been a long time since our last podcast, right? Because
the last one
we did released.
We did like a Chrome preview, a Dynasty preview. I guess now we're just going to talk about some of the big hits that have surfaced. Get your firsthand experience from opening some of these. I did not luck into getting any product from any of the EQL this year, so I did not have the chance firsthand to open any. But
I still haven't heard from a single person in the United States who won the EQL. Not one person. And conversely, I also haven't heard from a single person in the UK who didn't win. So take that for what you will. But everyone who entered it in the UK won. No one who entered in the US won. So,
weren't they only allowing like one box in the UK, Scott? Because I feel like stateside here, I think you could buy. I don't know. But there's like a couple boxes, and then you could also buy a case. I struck out on both cases.
As did, like I said, I talked to over 120 people in the United States who all entered. No one won. And I haven't heard online, on Reddit, on social media, anywhere, anyone in the US who won. So I don't know. Seems a little farcical, but what are you going to do?
Yeah. I mean, the P1 Castle community is rather large. So it'd be interesting. If you do know anybody that did, and you happen to be a viewer or listener of this fine podcast, comment down below. Let us know. Do you know anybody that has? Because that would be interesting. Because like that was quite the event, and like you said, everybody I know. I even had people, our prior co-hosts, TC and Chris of the Cards Formula. Guys, get in. Like
everyone was getting in.
That's too bad. We are going to end the show, Scott, with a look at Eccellenza, which is going to release soon, and also a sneak little preview of another product that might be coming out. Michael Rubin was, I guess, not really tweeted because I guess it was on Instagram.
Probably tweeted it too.
Yeah, I'm sure he's kind of a big deal.
Or X'd it, I guess. Is that what they say now?
I don't. I dropped Twitter once it changed hands, and I haven't looked back. Champion, dream achieved.
Lando freaking Norris, baby. LN4 or LN1, because he's taking number 1 next year. Whew. Man. Lando Norris, world champion by 2 points in the end, by 2 points. Now, it is funny because, I won't harp on this too much, but folks talk about, if such and such hadn't happened, if so-and-so hadn't happened, whatever, Max could have been champion, Oscar could have been champion, whatever. I think without a doubt, Lando Norris is absolutely deserving champion. He lost 18 points in Zandvoort. and he lost another 25 in Vegas, which was a 7-point gap to Oscar. But so he lost significant amount of points through technical / issues that were not of his own volition. So yeah, really happy to see him get it done. Obviously, I was rooting for Lando. I was rooting for more than anything for it to come down to 3 drivers in the end, and it did. And it got real close, right? You can obviously point to a ton of different micro events that could have decided the championship, but in the end, I think honestly, whoever had won would have been very deserving, and I think Lando did a great job. And there's a press conference, of course, afterwards, and I think he had a good statement too. He said, he was proud of the way he did it and that he did it his way. And I think, there was a one little sound bite that has been taken out of context for Lando haters and stuff. That's like, yeah, I wasn't aggressive like Max, but in the whole context of what he was saying was that this entire year and some of last year too, the second half, the media, fans online, everybody had been harping on Lando. He's not aggressive enough. He needs to be more like Max. You can't win a championship without being aggressive and ruthless. And he did it. He, for all intents and purposes, proved the haters wrong. He put together a great championship run, including an extremely impressive kind of, I want to say, I want to say, what is it? Race. I mean, really, it was after Zandvoort. After Zandvoort, where again, DNF, technical issue. After that, he went on a really good run. I mean, I'm thinking back to especially the Mexican Grand Prix. My gosh, what a dominant Grand Prix that was for Lando. And definitely seemed like there was a little bit of a turn where, Lando got on top of the car and Oscar started to struggle a little bit. And, a couple different events happened. And then, it really looked like Lando had it in the bag. And if not for Vegas, I mean, this thing would have been wrapped up in Qatar, right? But man, the Vegas Grand Prix with the double DSQ afterwards was a blessing in disguise because it really made it interesting in the end. And then McLaren, again, I mean, gosh, we haven't talked about any of these races. McLaren in Qatar with an absolute terrible strategy, that hurt both Oscar and Lando and gave the win to Max, not pitting under the safety car at the beginning. So a lot of events ultimately came down to the last race, and there was 3 drivers in contention. We hadn't seen that since 2010, where there were actually 4 drivers in contention for the championship. So really cool to see it. I mean, we had talked about this early at the beginning of the year, right? Or prior in preseason, we're like, oh man, this could be one of the best seasons ever. We could see so many people battling for championships. In the end, only 4 drivers actually won a race. Max with 8, Lando and Oscar with 7, and then Russell with 2. So, we didn't quite see the whole like multi team battle. Realistically, it was McLaren kind of, ahead of everybody. And then they stopped improving their car. They moved forward to next year, and Red Bull definitely did not stop improving their car. And wow, they almost stole it. So yeah, all that to say, congratulations, Lando. I know, Brian, you're obviously rooting for Oscar. And for all the Oscar fans out there, don't be disheartened. I think he has an extremely bright future ahead of him. And I think he is definitely going to be battling for championships. This was Oscar's first time. Lando kind of was in the title fight last year towards the end when McLaren's car really started improving. But he was pretty far away. But he technically was in a battle last year, didn't get it done, got it done this year. This is first championship battle for Oscar. I think he will have many more to come, and I think he's going to take a championship or 2 or 3. Who knows? So yeah, looking forward to new regulations, new challenges, and Oscar being up there. But yeah, this is Lando's day, Lando's year, and congrats to him. And congrats to all the Lando fans that stuck with him through it all the hate online and everything. So yeah, happy to see another world champion.
Yeah, it was, Scott, it was really cool to see a lot of the Lando Collections shared this past weekend.
Yep.
This was like a really interesting end of the season because there was uh, there's a lot of vitriol in Formula One fans, even inter-team. Even if you say you're like a McLaren fan, like it ends up being just like what we used to see with Sergio Perez and Max Verstappen with Red Bull. It's either you're either or, the other one's the enemy, and it
Yes.
really is hard to root for both drivers because you just naturally are going to side with one or the other. And to come down to the final race, that's all you can really ask for, as a fan. We didn't talk much about Max Verstappen. What a season. Like, I think this is right up there with his championship years. And
one of his
like,
best.
I love one of the comments, Scott, that he said during the presser is like, well, what do you think about the trophy sitting next to you guys? He's like, I got 4 of those at home. 5 would be cool. Like his mentality, not only just with sports, but life, is the only thing that matters is what's in front of you and give it balls to the wall. Like you're just going to go all out. You're not worrying about what happened in the past. You're not worried how happened tomorrow. It's like that in the moment, that max mentality, like you have with Kobe Bryant in the past with the Mamba mentality and Michael Jordan. It's just like these competitors have the ability to dial everything out and just dial into what they need to do. So Max had like the drive of a champion this year, and we don't know how many more years he's going to be in the sport.
No.
And I can easily see him walking away, potentially maybe even when his next contract is up, and looking for whatever the next challenge is. We saw that this year in an off week, competing in GT3.
Side quests.
Just a little side quest for him. And he just he's so good. I know he's not for everybody. Max fans love him, and most other people dislike him just because of his his mentality. And it may be off-putting to some, but it's just very Dutch. Like, I mean, that's how they are. They're no nonsense. And Oscar, you have to shout out Oscar for a phenomenal season. Championship leader for a good chunk of it. Who knows what really ended up happening at the end of the day, but he'll learn from this. Just like I'm a soccer coach, basketball coach, a bunch of these different things. Just like I tell, the young kids that I coach, there's 2 outcomes. You either win or you learn. And
Love that.
If you don't focus on losing, and I just think of that. One other final thought here, Scott, that just kind of popped in my mind is like that famous quote from Niki Lauda in one of the award ceremonies, and he shout out all the losers, and it sounded weird, but like you have to be comfortable with that because you're not always gonna win, and you only have one race winner every weekend. You have one champion. You have obviously one team, and I think it's to bring it full circle back to the CADs as we do here. Like this is huge for like the sports card hobby, is to have another champion. We love 2020 Top Chrome, 2020 Topps Chrome Sapphire Edition. I saw Go Tiffy on Instagram this week. We've got another World Driver champion in that set now.
Yep. First ever rookie card stamp world champion in Topps license Formula One card history.
That's huge. I mean, that set was already like the GOAT itself, but I mean, that certainly helps the longer term prospects. And, a couple of those cards were hit recently thanks to D2 Golden Pulls. Shout out my friend.
That's right. Well, it's interesting because his two of his biggest cards, take out the auto, of course, but in Chrome, his 1-of-1 Superfractor Portrait, still live. In Sapphire, his 1-of-1 Pad Paraja image variation, still live. So be interesting. Hopefully one of those come out in the next few months or something. I feel like that'd be really cool.
But one other final I got to ask you this, Scott, because I mean,
sure.
P1 Castle Premium Consignment has been like off the hook lately. Tell me what people are looking at with Lando cards here.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, Dynasty came out, and we'll get to that in a moment. So there's been a ton of those, but everyone wants Lando right now, especially his rookie card stuff. So 2020 stuff is booming. We actually just put up a one of one single patch Dynasty Lando card, and there's a ton of interest on it. So yeah, a lot of people want Lando. Although it is funny because I feel like when people win championships and everything, there's a ton of people that want Lando, but then there's also the people that have been collecting Lando for a long time that are thinking, okay, now is my time to cash in. So there's also a lot of people selling Lando. So there's just a lot of movement in the market in general, which is always great. So yeah, really cool to see lots of people looking for Lando. And then I've got one more note I just wanted to touch on before we move on to Dynasty, and it's based on something you said earlier about Max. Is that there's the people that love Max, and then everyone else. And I gotta say, I think this year Max converted a lot of haters. I had so many people, and I talked about this in the Legends chat. So many people, dozens of people sent me messages saying, you know what, this year Max, he really grew on me. The way he handled himself, obviously, Spain aside, the way he handled himself both on and off the track, I think people really respected. And if you listen to the radio message after that race, gosh, has he grown? You know, he like they came over the radio and like, congrats on the win. Sorry we couldn't get it done, and everything. Max was 100% like, guys, this was an amazing season. We never gave up. We kept pushing. I'm so proud of you guys. I'm so proud of the team. Like, there was no ill will. There was no like, oh yeah, well, if you hadn't done this or that, I'd be champion. It was all just absolute appreciation. And I think that's awesome. And I think Max is kind of becoming that driver that some people wished he would have been. And yeah, it's really cool to see. And, obviously big Sebastian Vettel fan here in the castle, but he's not racing anymore. I think it's no secret that my favorite driver currently on the grid is Max Verstappen. And ironically enough, and actually, the P1 podcast with Matt and Tommy, if you're not listening to that, check it out. Amazing podcast. Tommy is a huge Max fan, and something that he said resonated with me, and I completely agree with it. As a Max fan, this was the most enjoyable season. I would even put this above 2021 as a Max fan, to just watch the whole season, because my gosh, did he pull out some amazing drives, make some amazing moves. That move in Imola, oh my lord, on Oscar, that he overtook Oscar at the beginning. That was one of the best moves in F1 history, I think. And outside of that, just like continuing to never give up, never surrender. And he went all the way down to the wire. So, I already had it, but utmost respect for Max, and I think he got a lot of respect from would-be haters, and it was really cool to see. So his market's also done great.
Yeah, no surprise there. All right, you mentioned Dynasty, Scott.
2025, baby.
2025. Like, we haven't even talked about the set, like just it being ripped that initial day.
Yeah.
Some big cards already have surfaced from Lewis Hamilton. Obviously, I'm still very sad that Charles Leclerc is not in the set. Like,
yeah,
and I think that's why we're seeing a heck of a lot of Lewis Hamilton cards as a result, which is great because it's his first appearance in Ferrari Red.
Absolutely. And I think even if Leclerc had signed, and again, not entirely on Topps, don't put the pitchforks down. They tried to get the deal done, just didn't get over the table. But I think Lewis was always going to have a lot of cards in this set. And I think he's going to have a lot of cards in future sets too, based on that deal that he signed with them the past year. But so on screen right now, we have two cards that have been hit and one that hasn't, actually. So the one on the left, which I think is the card of the year. I know there's the Senna Prost card, and there's a Schumacher card that we're going to talk about in a little bit. But I think this is actually the best card in the entire set. And this is the entire full Ferrari badge on a red background with the "Still We Rise" inscription. Unbelievable. And this was hit. The collector that got it, Primo Prism, absolute legend. And this was pulled by Bullpen LA. Carrie hit it. She's awesome. Have talked to her tons of times at the National. We actually played a little craps together a couple years ago. But she's awesome. And my gosh, what an amazing card to hit. We also see the one on the right-hand side. This is the kind of the nameplate. It's got a big H for Hamilton. And it's got the inscription Sir Lewis Hamilton, which also amazing. This one was hit out in China. And then the one in the middle, which is the one that was kind of, previewed and so on, is the To the Tifosi, with again a Ferrari badge, but a larger Ferrari badge, actually very similar to this card right here, this Charles Leclerc card that we sold last year, who Twins Breaks owns now. Amazing Leclerc card. So he's hoping to get this Lewis so then he can pair them together. But yeah, overall, very exciting product. Not only do we have dozens and dozens of Lewis inscription cards, but we also have 5 rookies and some amazing cards. I mean, we're seeing more single patches than ever before. I think they've heard, they know the market loves single patches, so they added a lot of single patches in. And there's tons of cards of all the rookies. Outside of Lawson, definitely has considerably less than the other 4. But really fun product to open. Sales have been going crazy on eBay. I think there's been a little bit of a pullback now in the last week, just because, and I was kind of talking about this in the Legends chat. This is very cyclical for most products, but especially for Dynasty. First 2 weeks, you're going to see huge sales, right? Massive sales. It's the first cards that hit the market, big sales. The next 3 to 4 weeks, you're going to see lower volume, or you're going to see lower numbers on sales, because the volume of cards that is hitting eBay, that is everywhere, like on consignment, in the first 2 weeks, just because, people got to open them, break them, get them in people's hands, and then ship them. We probably had, I don't know, 10, 15 cards total in the first 2 weeks of Dynasty. Now I have over 100 Dynasty cards from 2025 on consignment. So a lot of people are selling their cards, and because of that higher volume, you're going to see prices drop off a little bit. But we did see this last year. It's the same thing. High sales initially, dropped off a bit, and then slowly started to pick back up. And then actually towards the end of the product cycle, like when we were in September, October of this year, 2024 Dynasty cards were like setting all-time highs on Golden and through other consignments. So let's see what happens this year. We've already sold one of the inscription cards for Lewis. It went for quite a bit. I think we sold for 17. There's one listed with someone else for 95,000, which may be a little aggressive, but you never know. I mean, people love Lewis. People love inscriptions. They're unique. They're cool. And we'll have to see kind of where the market ultimately lands on them. But very exciting product, and it's almost done, because I think everything got ripped so fast. It's a short print run, and then also it is extremely expensive. And this is actually an issue that I want to talk about, and we'll talk about it a little bit more at the end. But in the past, you saw Wave 1 come out, right? And then Wave 2 would be, a little bit higher. For instance, last year, I got 15 cases of Dynasty on Wave 1. On Wave 2, I got 35 cases at 40% higher. So a sizable increase, right? But manageable. This year, I got 10 cases on release, and then I was only offered 7, and it was 95% higher. And I think we're actually seeing this across all sports everywhere. Fanatics is kind of dribbling things out, and then they're really jacking up the price on Wave 2. And listen, I get it. They're running a business. They look at people like Blowout, and they're like, why are they making all the money? Say, for instance, last year, Chrome, they sold all these cases at like 2,000, Blowout gets hundreds and hundreds of cases and then sells them at 4,000. And Fanatics is like, whoa, whoa, whoa. No, we should be the ones doing that. So now they're selling them higher on wave 2, but all that means is that then Blowout sells them even higher. So right now, Blowout has Dynasty cases for 15,000 on their website, and they probably won't last long. That is how crazy it's getting. I am worried about Chrome because, on Topps website, right, you're able to order them. I think you got some as well. It was around $3,000, whether you're paying tax or not, whatever, roughly $3,000 for a case. Blowout has them at 4,800 already. So what do you think that means for wave 2 when Topps releases them, right? They're going to probably be 4,000 plus. And then Blowout's going to be up at 55 to 6,000. And then I do worry about what that means for collectors. Break spots are going to be more expensive. Just buying personal boxes are going to be more expensive. Now, granted, there's 5 rookies and the product looks really good. We've looked at it and we'll look at it more in the future. It looks really good. So maybe price is justified, but it just seems like a really big increase from what we're used to on releases. And I do worry that's going to price out some collectors. I worry that it's going to really hurt some of the smaller breakers in the space. I mean, I talk about this all the time, right? It took me 6 to 8 months running one box of 2020 Chrome at a time back when I first started to even make any type of profit. And if someone is new coming into the space as a breaker or has just started this past year, it is going to be very challenging to make money on these products. So we'll have to see how the landscape shifts and what happens. But yeah, enough about that. What card do we have on the screen here, Brian? Because this is one of the best cards in the set.
Yeah, the Dynasty cut signature of Michael Schumacher. As you've been talking about that, I've just been staring at this card, Scott.
Yeah, this is an amazing card. So this one was pulled by I think it's the Clubhouse, right? Clubhouse Breaks. Mike over there, great guy. He's actually been in this hobby for forever. I mean, he was ripping baseball on YouTube in front of his camera by himself, back in the 90s. So this guy's been around for forever. He's a big F1 fan, so really cool to see him pull this. Last year we pulled 2 of the Schumacher cards. This year, I believe there is only one. I have been trying to get verification. I am leaning towards, I think there's only one Senna card and one Schumacher card. But we're trying to meet with Topps. Our meetings keep getting pushed, but eventually we should hopefully get clarification on that. This one is really nice. So if you think last year Dynasty, the Ferrari patch, that's the best Schumacher card ever made, right? The Ferrari patch for sure. I would probably put the M.Schu nameplate above this one, but then I would put this one above last year's zipper. So I would put this one kind of like third. You could maybe argue second, but I would put it in third in terms of all of his cards. It is his only one from this year. It's a really cool patch. I mean, it's clearly a glove patch. Vodafone and Shell, 2 iconic brands, from the 90s and early 2000s. So really cool to see this card in there. And yeah, congrats to Clubhouse and the person they hit it for. I actually don't know who was the customer that hit it, but massive congratulations. That is a huge card. New for this year on the screen, we have a liquid silver, sometimes called liquid gold because it is a gold 1/1 Max Verstappen. This we actually pulled. We pulled it. It was funny because it was the first liquid silver type or whatever that we ever pulled. And, there was some controversy when we saw these cards initially when we were previewing Dynasty. People were like, oh man, if this takes the place of a whole card, like it's really going to feel bad. Retrospectively, if it did take the place of a full card, it probably wouldn't be that bad because they're selling pretty well. But it was not that. It was an extra card, which is amazing. And it's just kind of, you open the box and it's just sitting there. It's kind of like up against the you can see the back of the card. It's like up against it's kind of stuck to the top of the box. And so I was like, oh, liquid silver. And then I turned it over. I was like, oh, it's liquid gold. Oh my gosh. Yeah. And so this one was actually hit for Dan, Papa Manglis, hate twins breaks father. So really cool pull. This was the first one that we hit. This is the only gold one that we've hit. At this point, I think there's 10 golds total. I think 6 of them, maybe 7, have already been hit. The Lewis is still out there somewhere, which is obviously really big. But I know the Antonelli's been hit, the Behrman's been hit, Bortoletto's been hit, Lando's been hit. I think we're waiting on Lewis.
The Alonso's been hit. Yep.
I think it's just down to Hajar, Lewis, and there's one more, Signs. Hajar, Lewis, and Signs, I think, are the only 3 that have not been hit at this point. So, which are pretty big cards. Especially Hajar's a rookie and Lewis, obviously. Very unique cards. Kind of reminds me of like Sapphire Selection Superfractor portraits a little bit, just in terms of their uniqueness. It's a different card. We've never seen this before in Formula One. Obviously, baseball, actually in Diamond Icons, they had these liquid silver cards, and Otani cards sell for a lot. It's very short printed. I think people have done the math, and there's like 20 or less silvers, and then obviously just the 1 gold. But really cool addition to the product ultimately in the end, especially with it being an extra card. So yeah, love to see it.
All right. There's a couple more cards I want to look at related to Dynasty, but mentioning P1 Castle affiliate, AJ, aka Hammer Time Hits.
Oh, yeah. So this is really cool. So on screen, we've got Hammer Time himself, AJ, live in the paddock in Vegas. And it was funny because he was going out there. I was going to be out in Vegas, and we were going to do like a thing together where we ripped a case and did a break. Ultimately, I couldn't make it out there, and it was just going to be tough, for him to kind of put a whole break together and everything. So in the end, we decided, hey, I'm going to ship him a case, and he did a personal for twins. And wow, not pictured. They actually hit a max out of 5. That was really nice. But a Kimi Antonelli single patch 1 of 1 monster card ripped live in the paddock. I mean, it doesn't get any cooler than that. So congratulations to AJ, Hammer Time Hits, P1 Castle affiliate, and of course to John, Dan, the whole Twins Breaks family on this monster. And this one, I actually think it's here with me now somewhere. I'm just getting back from a big trip. Been gone for a few days, so I've got a ton of packages that came in on consignment that I'm going to be going through tonight, and I think this one is in there somewhere.
One other thing that I just have to mention here too, and I don't know if I'm supposed to say this or not, but the lanyard that AJ is wearing actually just came into my possession momentarily, and it's actually at PSA right now because a very notable person signed it for him in the paddock.
Ooh, that's spicy. Yeah, so that's really cool.
I will let him share all the fun part of that, but that was just I mention it a lot, Scott, over the last like almost 2 years we've been doing this podcast. There's some times that I get to see firsthand some really cool and iconic and just part of history, Formula One stuff. It's just incredible. It's one of the best parts of doing what we do, to be honest.
Absolutely. Speaking of Vegas, just touch on this briefly, but so, in Miami, we saw there were kind of, exclusives, kind of those trackside exclusives, right? But Topps wasn't really at the race, so they didn't hand them out there, but we did that collab event with AA Mint, and they kind of gave them to us to hand out to folks there at the store, and then on our live streams and stuff. So they made Vegas versions, which are essentially the same exact card. They look exactly the same, except they've been Vegasified, which means they've got some extra lights on them and some dice and stuff. So cool little trackside exclusive that they were maybe giving out. I actually don't know the the entire story. I know that some people got some of them. I'm not, again, I wasn't there, so I don't know exactly how they were handed out, who was able to obtain them or whatnot. But again, I think very similar to Miami. I don't think there's parallels. I think it's just the base cards. I think they had planned parallels for Miami and then didn't actually end up making them. There are some like red non-numbered ones floating around that I think folks actually got from people at the printing facility. So not gonna touch that one.
Nope. There is enough
yeah.
controversy in the hobby right now. We're looking at you, PSA.
Oh gosh, that could be a whole podcast for sure.
I don't want to touch that one with a 10-foot pole.
well, you would be the person to touch it because you're the one who knows all the details and works with them. So, but maybe we'll talk about that another time. But
there are far more qualified people and more people willing to stick their neck out on the line to talk about what's going on at PSA right now that we don't have to delve into that.
That's right.
We keep things positive here. All right. Speaking of keeping things positive, let's end the show on a good note here, Scott. A look at another new product coming out. This one will probably drop before Chrome. Actually, we didn't even mention it, Scott. So like officially, unofficially, it looks like Chrome is probably delayed based on a lot of emails that people are getting in the UK.
So I've been saying this for weeks now. Like in every one of my streams, in the Legends chat, I've told everyone Chrome is delayed until 122. So it's funny when like today, because I think the UK folks got the emails, by the way, a while ago. And I got verification of this delay a while ago. And we've been telling people, but only just today, as of time of recording, were people in the US like getting those emails. And it was funny because the Legends chat, everyone's like, oh my gosh, have you seen this? It's delayed to 122. I'm like, do you guys not like listen to what I say? But yes, so it is delayed until 122. I know a ton of breakers have stuff up for Chrome release on 12/19. It is not happening. And I think it's fine for breakers, that didn't know, to have that up there to, help get bookmarks and all that. Do not give people your money, by the way. Like I know there's been some breakers that are trying to fill breaks already for like the 19th. Do not give them your money. You are giving them a 0 interest loan to do that. So do not do that, especially if you've already gotten stuff for Topps. We've already given Topps plenty of 0% interest loans with the product. Now, I know everyone that's got the email and everything, you have the option to cancel your orders. I would highly advise you, if you can afford to do so, do not cancel those orders. Do not, because again, it was around 3,000 a case on the Topps website. It's 4,800 plus on blowout. So if you accept those, you're already in the green by 1,500 plus. Do not cancel your orders if you can afford to do so. But yes, it is going to be delayed.
Funny you mention that. I actually haven't gotten any of those emails, Scott. So because I lucked into getting a couple. Actually, I had very good success with Chrome. I think I got 2 cases and then a set of 10 boxes. Hooked up some of the P1 Castle affiliates, and then even working with my local LCS ARC sports cards, Ryan. He knows that I rip F1. Nobody else in the area rips F1. And he gave me a really good deal at this point. And I'm like talking to the other day. I'm like, did you hear Chrome got delayed? He goes, I didn't do that. He goes, I just paid that bill. He goes, that's not really cool. I'm like, well, let's just keep it. Trust me, let's keep it. So yeah, very good advice to definitely do, like you said. And it can be a challenge. Like we did give Topps basically our money for 2 months, but it will be worth it in the long run.
Yeah, we got quite a bit, and but it is what it is. It's the game we play, right? So so that again, Chrome is coming out January 22nd. We'll dive into it again at some point later this year or early in next year and kind of go through everything again. I know I did a whole checklist review and everything on my YouTube channel. Plug P1 Castle YouTube. But also, we're going to take another look at it here as things get closer. But up on the screen, we have Eccellenza. And this is another one that, again, originally I think this is supposed to be in November when it was going to be in EQL and drop. It's actually dropping tomorrow as of the time of recording. So when this comes out today, it is dropping. I believe it's going to be 2 p.m. Eastern on the Italy website. But honestly, guys, you may want to, like, as early as noon in Italy, you might want to be looking at that website, because I don't 100% know when it's going to be out there, whether it's going to be on the UK site, whether it's going to be on the US site. The details, ever since it was going to be dropped and then got moved, they've been a little fuzzy. So just know that dropping today, when you're listening to this, at some point on the Topps website, Italy Topps website for sure, maybe the other Topps websites, but it's probably, again, still going to be an EQL. I've been hearing a limit of 3 boxes on that EQL. I don't know. But another thing to be wary of, if it's not out on the US website and it is Italy or UK alone, just bear in mind, guys, you're going to be paying tax, you're going to be paying shipping, you're going to be paying duties and import fees, most likely. So just factor that all in, because if you enter that EQL, if you win, you got to pay. Although I guess you technically, no, you have to put your payment method in and then it charges it. So
Mhm.
if you win, you have to pay. And I actually remember entering an EQL back in the day for a friend on one of those Wemby Mercury boxes that were like $8,000, and I won. And I was like, "Oh, I won. You want it?" And they're like, "Oh no, I got what I need." And I was like, "What? Dude? Like,
Oh
what am I
gosh.
supposed to do with this thing?" Luckily, Jeff took it for what I paid for it, so it was okay. But yeah, just bear that in mind. Look at the price and make sure, okay, shipping, taxes, import fees, duties, etc. Does it still make sense for you? If it does, go ahead and get them. I think it looks like a really cool product. I will say, last year at Eccellenza looked like a really cool product and did not pan out the best. So I don't know how it'll go this year, but it does look pretty cool. Up on screen, we have some epic cards you can see. I mean, gosh, there's a Lewis Hamilton out of 5 with a huge Ferrari patch. They're doing similar patch sizing to last year, right? Where it's kind of the Tetris L shape. I think it'll be a fun product. I think it'll be really cool. We've got some other pictures. You want to talk us through it, Brian?
Yeah, then we got obviously the one of one gold foil. This being a paper product, it's not obviously gold or chrome or anything. But I feel like the one of ones still look really nice. Lucky enough again to see some of these in hand in the past, thanks to some big time collectors in the community here. And then again, seeing a lot of Jackie Stewart now signing. So on
Hmm.
the other side of the screen here, we've got a Jackie Stewart and Emerson Fittipaldi booklet auto here. Really cool. Just again, I think they're doing a really good job, Scott. I'll have to call this out. You've mentioned it before with the legends.
Yep.
With the photos used, obviously finding ways to make it look good without the ability to have the sponsor logos on their race suits.
Yeah, and on the left side here, we've got obviously Kimi Antonelli, rookie. I mean, regardless of whatever product comes out in 2025, you're gonna have your rookies. So, I mean, I think products are gonna be good this year, most likely, no matter what, because of all the rookies and Lewis Ferrari stuff. So, I think it'll be a lot of fun. And then I think on the next page, we've got one of the coolest cards I've seen them make, and probably the coolest card in Eccellenza's history. It is called the Fresco, and it is a 10 driver booklet. So you generally see this in other sports, especially baseball usually does a lot of these, but I've seen some in football. And so this is going to be something where you're going to open the box and that's the only thing that'll be in there. It won't be like a pack that's got 7
Like
cards.
7 cards, right, Scott?
No, it'll be the only thing in there will be this huge, huge booklet, and it's got one driver from each team. So it's got Max, Oscar, Lewis, Hadjar, Alonso, Bortoletto, Russell, which is unfortunate, Signs, Gasly, and Behrman. The only reason I say that's unfortunate is because, oh my gosh, if they had had all the rookies on here, how cool would that have been? Or at least 4 of them, because I guess, V-Carb has 2, so you can't put all of them in there. But yeah, Fantinelli had been in there instead of Russell would have made it even better. But it's still awesome, and a really cool card, something we've never seen before in the F1 community, in the F1 hobby. That will obviously be the chase card. So and it does say like it does say on the website that like this will be in a box, right? So I don't think it's going to be a redemption. I do actually think this will be in a box. Now, who knows if that'll actually be the case, but I think that'll be one of the coolest cards to see open. So yeah, hopefully somebody in the community that we know gets it, and be an epic card for sure.
I think it would be almost near impossible to slab up and create. I don't know if Beckett's got a slab that big.
I don't know. And also, I mean, you look at something like this, and I will say once again, guys, the alarm bells go off. This will obviously be weighable. So trust your source. You have to trust where you are buying, who are you buying from, etc. when it comes to things like this. Yeah, I mean, what I really hope I don't see is a breaker open this for themselves. I swear, I'm calling sus on it right now. If some breaker decides, like, oh, you know what, I'm gonna Percy a box and then opens this thing, 99% chance they wait it. Hopefully that doesn't happen, because like this is the type of stuff you want to see open for other people. And this is actually one of the reasons like I hate taking spots in my own breaks. And it reminds me of actually a few weeks ago, I was running one box of 2020 Chrome on Whatnot, and we had the Schumacher Drugovich spot, which normally we have at $45. No one had bought it. I was like, all right, you know what, guys, I'll discount it down to $25. Ran it 10-second sudden death. No one took it. And I was like, geez, all right, I guess we'll take it. And then we were about to rip it. It was the last spot there. I was like, you know what? Whatever. Let's just run it at $1. I ran it at $1, went for $23. Red Mick Schumacher track tag, which we just sold for the person that hit it for $7,000. So
wow,
they turned $23 into $7,000, minus the commission fee. But that is why you do that, because I'm telling you, I would much rather hit a card like that for someone in the community than have hit it myself. And I'll tell you right now, if I had taken that spot and hit that card, we would have given it away to somebody in the stream, because it's just it's not great. If you're doing this as a breaker, for me, someone that's ripping all the time doing this, like it obviously is a hobby and everything, but it is a business. And that's just a terrible look. If you hit one of these cards for yourself, it is a terrible look. So you can't do it. You can't do it. So I really hope that some collector that treasures the card, or, wants it and wants to sell it or something, hits it. I would hate to see this get hit by some random weird Percy. So yeah, hopefully someone gets a box on EQL and opens it for themselves as a collector and hits it, and it's an awesome story.
Speaking of one last story here, Michael Rubin. Kind of semi-teasing out potentially a new product here, Scott.
Yeah, so there was some chatter on this. So on the screen on the left-hand side, we've got a picture of Michael Mahan on the left side, then Max Verstappen in the middle holding up a card, and Mike Rubin to his right-hand side. So Mahan, and he's kind of Rubin's right-hand man when it comes to Fanatics collectibles, top side of things. And in his hand, Max is holding up a booklet card that on the left-hand side has a very cool spliced picture, with him doing his like this with the helmet on, and then a picture of his card on the track with his auto. I can't tell whether it's on card or not, but the fact that Max is holding it himself leads me to believe it is on card. Again, the picture is an amazing resolution, so it's hard to tell, but it does look like it's on card. I mean, you don't see any of that kind of angled glare that you generally see with the sticker, so it does look on card. And then on the right-hand side, my gosh, a massive Red Bull logo, which obviously not as iconic as Ferrari, but it is becoming extremely popular. I'm telling you, these Red Bull logos are becoming extremely popular. Now, I don't know 100%, but I am, based on looking at other products that we see in other sports. I believe this may be something similar to like an Inception type
Mhm.
product, right? Like I don't think this is any like this isn't an Eccellenza or anything. I do think potentially this is Inception. Also, if we're seeing a picture of Max signing it right now, I don't even know if this will be out this year. Like I don't know if this is going to be a 2025. This might be a 2026 product. You know, it's hard to know with these things. But it's an awesome looking card, and looking forward to hearing more about it, and seeing more cards from whatever set it is, because it looks really cool. And you got to imagine if they're doing this with Max, surely Lewis has something very similar, and other drivers as well. So yeah, love to see it. Love to see on card autos. We're getting a lot more of them lately. We really are, which is really cool for the F1 hobby, because it has been a hobby where we're almost exclusively getting sticker autos outside of Dynasty. So it's been really cool to see some of the kind of lower tiered products get those on card autos as well.
Yeah, that'd be exciting. A lot of cool stuff coming down the pipeline for the hobby.
Absolutely. Oh man. Well, I knew this would be a big one. I mean, we had a lot to talk through, and I mean, we probably could have added another hour to this podcast if we really wanted to. But good to get back in the saddle. It's feel like I haven't seen you in years.
It has been a while, and actually, it might even also be the last one before the end of the year
I
here.
know. Yeah. I mean, honestly, if we do another one, probably only one more. So folks that are listening, yeah, maybe we sneak another one in. But that would probably be it. Obviously, we have holidays coming up and everything. Been sending out our holiday cards from the Picassos. So folks
I
should be getting those.
I had to. So anybody that's been with us for the last year would know the joke that I told about my wife opening
Of
the
course.
Christmas cards that we get, and she just completely straight faced. She goes, "Who on earth are the Picassos?" I will say, kudos to the queen of the castle, because I know she's probably the one that put all that stuff together.
Oh yeah.
It's a little bit easier to tell now that it is a P and a 1 and not a P and a capital I.
Hmm.
So, but it's
Yeah.
still, we made the joke in the Fontaine household. We said the
Of
Picassos.
course. I love it. Yeah, and you'll see, I actually, this hat made an appearance in there, which was funny. Just random little aside. Most people have already tuned out of the podcast, but we were actually going to do the pictures, and I told Erica, I was like, I want to wear the hat. And she's like, no, these are holiday pictures. Like, you're not wearing the hat. No one wears a hat. So I started searching like online for like holiday pictures, and like showing her, I'm like, oh, look, that guy's wearing a hat. Oh, look, there's another hat. There's a hat. So we ultimately decided on, we did like, I'd say 90% of the photo shoot without a hat, and then the other 10% with a hat. In the end, I think we had as many pictures in there with the hat as without. So they ended up being pretty good. And yeah, I feel like I mean, she was like, this is a holiday card, not a business card. I was like, well, it's going to most of the people in our community. Like, sure, we're going to send it to family also, but come on. I was like, we could do two different cards. She's like, no, we're not doing that. I was like, all right, well, everyone's part of the Picasso family. So they're getting these.
All right, Scott, we're nearing an hour. Let's pull the plug on this one.
All right, I gotta hope I don't stumble on it and I remember what to say here. Because again, it's been a while. So I think the way it goes is we're gonna see you next time, guys. And in the meantime, collect your cardboard and keep it carbon.